Why play Rammus Top? Well, he brings great crowd control, he is very mobile for a tank, he brings amazing engage, and he has surprisingly high damage. However, his early game is weaker until he has some items, and he can struggle against champions who can interrupt his Q. Rammus's passive makes his basic attacks deal additional damage scaling with his armor. This on-hit additional damage is greatly increased while his W is active. Rammus's Q causes him to channel the ability, turning him to a ball which gains speed over time. Rammus stops rolling after hitting an enemy or when the ability ends. Upon hitting an enemy, he deals damage to them and knocks them back. After this, enemies hit are then stunned, revealed, and slowed. Rammus's W makes him enter a defensive stance where he gains a large amount of bonus armor and a small amount of bonus magic resistance. In addition, enemies that use a basic attack against him take damage. While his W is active, his basic attacks extend the duration of it by 0.4 seconds up to a maximum of 4 additional seconds. Rammus's E is a point-and-click ability which taunts an enemy and grants him a good chunk of attack speed. Rammus's ultimate causes him to leap in a direction, becoming immune to CC. Upon arrival, he creates a circle which deals damage and slows all enemies hit. After this, the circle then causes 3 aftershocks to explode, dealing damage and slowing all enemies hit. In addition, this ability can be used while in Q. If it is, enemies in the center of the ultimate are also knocked up. And finally, the ultimate also damages structures, with it dealing even more damage to towers. For combos, your main go-to is going to be engaging with your Q, and after hitting them, activate your E to taunt into your W. And if you have your ultimate to engage, use your Q into your ultimate, following up with your E into your W. For matchups, Rammus does great into champions who rely on auto attacks, as they simply kill themselves while fighting him, and he can struggle against bullies who can take advantage of his weaker early game or AP champions. For runes, take this, Aftershock makes his engages amazing. For build order, start Door and Shield and Pot into tier 2 boots, a Thorn Mail, and an Even Shroud. After this, build these against mainly AD threats, these against AP threats, and these are great items too. For skill order, start W then E then Q, before maxing W then E then Q, taking ult whenever you can. For summoner spells, take Flash and Teleport. Starting the game, your main focus is always going to be on farming and taking good trades when they're given to you. As Rammus does not have the best wave clear, it's likely you're going to be pushed into your tower for the early stages of the game. This is absolutely fine, as it keeps you incredibly safe and your passive makes farming very easy. However, you do have the trade-off where you won't be able to have any impact on the map while under your tower. However, keep looking for windows in which you can take trades. Anytime an opponent uses an ability on the wave or misses an ability, this is a great chance for you to go in. If they ever give you the opportunity to simply walk up to them and taunt them into your W, you will be incredibly tanky and dealing great damage. And then when your W is coming to an end, you can use your Q to damage them, knock them back, and disengage easily. Otherwise, simply wait for your jungler to come. As top lane is such a long lane and you're most likely going to be pushed in, when your jungler comes, you have plenty of time to use your Q to engage in them and taunt them up. And as you get some more items and can push the lane harder, Rammus becomes great at roaming. And especially after you have your ultimate, with your Q you can easily and quickly get to the mid lane to try and get 2 lanes ahead. Entering the mid game, you want to take your tower as soon as possible. You are not a natural split pusher, and having Even Shroud means you want to group with your team as soon as possible and start fighting. Entering late game teamfights, you want to play as your teams engage. Using Q and following it up with your ultimate launches you right into the middle of the enemy team, allowing you to easily taunt someone important. And between your W and Aftershock, you are ridiculously tanky. When you do this, as long as your team can easily follow you up, it's a clean and simple fight.